right, good morning. Thank you very much for joining us. This is the Arrival Live segment, and when I look at my watch like this, I know most of you are doing that. You're in haste, you're in panic, you're tense. You know, the year has just started and you're trying to catch up very fast with what is going on in town, in the CBD. So we want you to get there on time, all right? Do not panic. Traffic looks okay, but today we don't want to really look at traffic and what is causing and the accidents. We want to take a look at what is causing the traffic. What hasn't been changed since the 20th century? Why do we keep postponing the changes that we should actually do? Why are we not implementing the proposals? Why is there no execution? But if there ought to be execution, how feasible are they? How practical are they? And how long should they take to actually be implemented? Kenyans have sung songs, and now we're in another electioneering period, and they're saying, well, same stories, nitajenga barabara, nitatengeneza bridge, you know, and Kenyans are asking this time in 2022, will things be different for our road safety? Talk to us on Twitter at LookUpTV, hashtag VMorningDrift, all right? Talk to us on Facebook. We're streaming live there. Your comments and your questions are what should drive this conversation. Mr. Owori said, Happy New Year. We are seeing you for the first time this year.
Actually, since December 25th,
yes.
Today is my first public appearance.
It's an honor.
I'm humbled to be here.
Well, we are humbled to have you, and a lot of viewers are looking forward to this conversation because it's been I don't know if I should call it a roller coaster. Yeah, because when you are on the road and you're not sure that certain things are not being taken seriously, then you start fearing for your life. So we are looking at 2022 because we're starting a new year. Mm-hmm. So much has been said over the years, and somebody has just mentioned concern over if you were keen last year, I kept saying passengers need a more, clean environment, a proper environment. For those using the train, the railway train. As we speak, a tweet this morning just, brought out again the Kenya Railways has been working on improving or coming up with a better stage since August 2020. Let's start with what was in place last year or the years before when it came to road safety or infrastructure improvement that failed. An overview maybe of last year? Yes.
First, I want to say Happy New Year to viewers from wherever places you are. 2022 might still be a very sad year in as much as people are expecting to have powerful breakthroughs. If you pray, keep on praying. If you read the Word of God, keep on reading it and hold on to it. But from my sitting position on road carnage, we are going to expect worse. We are going to expect more because, number one, it is a political season. And if we go by our past records, then it's very clear. This is a season where we see a lot of travel in convoys. Yes. Nobody knows anything about convoys in this country. It's just a group of drivers who, when number one overtakes, all the seven overtake. They don't want to care of who is coming, what is oncoming traffic. So we are going to expect more crashes and more pedestrian hits, actually more hit and runs. That is where I will put it. You don't expect a miracle to happen on the road. It will never happen. It will never, ever happen. There are no miracles on the road. Miracles is in faith and in the Word of God for those who believe. So on the road, it is all about responsibility. I know I am speaking this and it's sad. On the 25th of December, I went live on my Facebook channel and I said, every day we lose 15 people. So on the 25th, I said by midnight, we will have lost more than 30. And the count had it that on the 25th alone, we lost 40 lives, 40. They went 10 plus what I said. Somebody said, I am a sadist, and seems like I really enjoy when people die. No, you don't know the pain I have when I see people trapped, families being wiped off the face of the earth. You don't know how it hits me, because if I had an opportunity to speak to these families before that moment, they would have been able to avoid. But then you don't know the regret I live with seeing these guys go, and I've never gotten to them. But it's a beautiful moment, because you've brought this to their living rooms, into their phones, into wherever place they are. And you realize that from the onset of the show when we started,
yes,
the international audience are more serious than us.
Well, it's been quite evident. We have observed that as well, but yes.
So there is no way we are going to expect less. If we go with the NTSA records since 2015, let's just pick a random year, 2015.
Okay.
2016, the deaths were higher than 2015, and it has been ascending. Now we are in 2020. Just, I was hit when I read something that in 4 days alone in December, Kenya lost more than 55 lives. These are reported cases. How about the unreported cases? Why are we not seeing? There is a CS transport minister in this country. In other countries, like when a crash happens, it's a disaster.
Yes.
We get an address from the NTSA of that country. We get an address from the minister.
Okay.
There are countries that when, like I was talking to Karis Mugo, and in Sweden, they cannot understand why a whole year only 2 people died on their roads. They cannot understand. Where did they get it wrong that 2 people, 2 people, and these 2 people, it's a span of months. How did they miss it that 2 people died? So for them it is 0, nobody should die on the roads. But for us, the Bible says that when you see the dark clouds, then you are pretty sure it is about to rain.
Yes. All right.
Why are we missing to see the dark clouds on our roads in this country? More vehicles are coming in.
All right.
Our roads are now more crowded than ever before.
Evidently.
The syllabus we are using is from 1975.
No, it's not been revised.
Nothing much has been done.
Okay.
And that is why somebody is proud to tell you, I've been driving for the last 25 years. 25 years ago, Kenya had no bypass.
Oh, yes.
25 years ago, Kenya had no expressways. 25 years ago, Kenya had no dual carriage roads. And then there was no system where they upgraded to come and learn this.
Yes.
Some of us are lucky. Karis Mugo is lucky. I am lucky. David Kahara is like, okay, now they are lucky. They have been exposed to these countries. So you go into a country, you find a road with 6 lanes. You become a nursery school child because you now want to understand each and every lane with its purpose. So when you come back home, you are a little bit advanced on it. But in our country, we have a culture where we don't want to be told. It's like if I say I don't know how to use a smartphone, I don't belong.
Oh.
I have 0 knowledge. But excuse me, it came in much later. And there is an open door for me to learn. Who says that if I don't learn how to tweet now, I'll not be able to make it? I use Twitter. There are features that get upgraded. I use a smartphone.
Yes.
Sometimes I go to the Wi-Fi, it tells me update. And sometimes the update is so minimal I wouldn't even notice, but it changes the whole thing. So we need to have something. By the way, let me say this before I forget.
Yeah.
Mr. Samuel Musumba, the program director of road safety from NTSA, I want to say thank you very much. We have had him on set.
Yes.
And he has amazed me because seems he's taking a different turn.
Okay.
Right now, there are people who are receiving road safety SMSs from NTSA.
Amazing.
So a big, that's a big up on my end, because I saw Mr. Kahara say yesterday's SMS, NTSA said, we are waiting for you at your homes. So we expect you to do it safe. He meant come back, our loved ones. Yes, arrive alive. You have to. And then there was this beautiful moment when the last show we had before going into the festivity,
yes,
Mr. Kahara was mentioning, you can do SMSs.
Oh, yes.
And this time around, Mr. Musumba is working on something from the NTSA, and we are receiving these SMSs.
So we are working.
So you see on social media, people ask, umepata NTSA ama una connections? So it means there is something, there is an awareness that has been leveled up. With that small leveling up, then expect an impact, because now, mbona mimi sijapata?
Nice.
What wrong have I done with my number that I've not found it? I've found 3 messages.
And I want to just ask the viewer this morning, have you received these messages that we're talking about from the NTSA? Umepata ngapi ama huna connection? I will just say it the way they're saying it online, because it is important. Some of them are hearing this for the first time, and we would want to help you understand, is there something that is probably not okay with you? Is it the registration? What is missing? But by now we're expecting that you get these messages from the NTSA, and kudos to the NTSA for that. And we're looking at the recommendations, proposals of things that need to be implemented, that were proposed, some that failed, and that for us is a good thing. And of course, allow me to appreciate those already watching on Facebook, so we can say good morning. If you want to say Happy New Year to Mr. Otet, also this is the platform. And of course, Joel Jerry says good work, guys. So good morning.
That is from Malawi.
Oh, all the way from Malawi.
Yes.
Happy New Year, Malawi. Thank you very much for creating time to join us so early. Of course, Rehan Ohas,
that is a senior police officer from Makinon.
Okay.
Very key with road safety.
And thank you very much, sir, for creating time as well. Good morning and Happy New Year from #The Morning Drift. Kahara M. David, one day Kahara will text me and say, can you people do the show without mentioning my name? Good morning, sir. He says, good morning, Anki and Mr. Ward. As usual, tuned in from Utawala, Nairobi. Brian Otieno, good morning. Award Tat and Look Up TV, good morning, sir.
Good morning and Happy New Year.
Looking forward to today's session. Happy New Year. And of course, we continue to read these concerns. And of course, Brian Otieno, as we had asked earlier on, says, I received 3 messages.
I have received 3 too.
I particularly like the one that says, Tafadhali, slow down. We are waiting for you at home.
Yes, that one was yesterday.
And I think that's a beautiful, beautiful message. Thank you, TSA. And if you have received messages like Brian Otieno, please let us have this count from you. Facebook and on Twitter, just let us know, what did your message say, when did you receive it, and how do you feel about that improvement. Let's talk about more of this. You just mentioned the SMSs. Please continue with what, again, we could say has worked for us, or what has failed.
So far, the feedback is on the SMSs.
All right.
So the room is still empty. We need to fill in. I would wish to see more TV adverts.
Okay.
I would wish to hear more radio adverts, more talk. Adolf Hitler, he's known for very, very bad reasons. But I respect him for one.
Okay.
His way of repetition. He used to say it 3 times. The very first time you mention, you are bringing an introduction. And people are like hearing it for the first time. Repeat the same thing a second time, and they now like, the first mention might have been a mistake, but for him to mention it on air 2 times, then it raises a concern.
Yes.
And when you do it a 3rd time, now they are sure, because they're going to do research, and they now want to come to counter you. So when they do the research, they find that whatever thing you mentioned, that is how it is.
Okay.
I want to say this. Most of us say speed does not kill you. Yeah, they say speed does not kill you. But I keep on saying, in as much as you say it does not kill you, you're very right. But it reduces your chances of survival. Still means it will kill you.
All right.
So if I say speed kills, my audience will split into 2. Because there is a part that says, yeah, it will kill you. There's a part that says, no, it does not kill you.
And as you say that, there is now on a lot of boards on our roads that says the speed that thrills, the speed kills.
Yes.
I don't know if you're borrowing, if I am borrowing it from the right one. And that's something that now, you know, is now a talk.
Yeah, it is a talk because, one, speed, higher speeds give you less reaction time.
Oh.
They reduce your stopping distances. If you are at 60, you need about 200 meters to stop safely.
Safely.
Yeah. You can stop, but it cannot be safe.
Yes.
So let's say you have that 200 meters and you're at 120. You see, your chances of stopping safely are limited. Your reaction time is seriously limited. Your vision tunnel, Karis mentioned something.
Yes.
Most of us just want to see hapo mbele ya bonnet too. But then if you adjust your seat well, he mentioned
Sit upright. Yes.
the 90 position. You see, people who are doing computer, they tell you sit at 90 so that you have the right posture, your spinal cord, blah, 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 blah. For us, sit at 90, you're able to see far.
Okay.
We see the future. The future is where we are going to. So, in as much as we want to sugarcoat that speed is beautiful, it reduces the chance of survival for you, for the people around you inside that vehicle, on that motorbike, and the people on the environment.
I am very curious, even as we speak of this, and last year we discussed a lot about stakeholders. We looked at mistakes that we each do on the road. We brought in the authorities as well. And everyone, for some reason, took responsibility. The other day, I had your designated boda rider, and he was able to say, well, for this, we are responsible. For this, we are working in this direction. I don't know from where you sit, what do you expect in 2022 from each of these stakeholders? It's okay to point them out, from pedestrians, the authorities, even if by name, the motorists. What do we expect in 2022?
Road safety is still an ambiguity to so many of us. Very few who probably have watched the show have now come with a different understanding. In road safety, there is no competition in saying how much you know it.
Okay.
There is more honor in what you practice than what you know. If you know very well, animals listen to sound and they obey the sound. So you want to hoot at a goat to leave the road. Whereas you have a responsibility of using the brakes and you know how to use them safely. So what I would expect is more talk. We really need to speak up more. We really need to speak up more. December 24th. I'm preparing to travel.
Yes.
Then I receive a phone call from Engineer Reggae. And it's like, wow, the roads are beautiful. So in my mind, I know Engineer Reggae is driving from Nakuru to somewhere. So I ask him, Engineer, why are you calling me and you are driving? And he's like, no, I'm not driving. I'm in a matatu today.
All right.
So where are you headed to? I'm headed to Kisii. Just few days after that crash that took the husband, the mother-in-law, the son, and the lady was left with a baby fighting for the life in ICU. So the same, just about the same area. So engineer calls to tell me that I'm passing that area. And then he goes further and says, and by the way, the driver of this van that I am in,
yes,
ameleta kichwa.
Okay.
And I want to understand, and he says, we refuse that he's not going to carry excess passengers. So he has decided to drive us at 40. 40 on a highway looks a comfortable speed. Very safe.
All right.
But do you know that a lot of rear-ends are caused by slow-moving vehicles? So he decides to put me on loudspeaker.
All right.
And I addressed the driver. And the driver is a bit stubborn and all that. So I just told him, ask him to park. So the driver parks. I try to talk to the driver. I try to mention the dangers that are involved.
Yes.
And the driver is very rude. So I asked Engineer Reggae, which circle again is that?
Okay.
So I decided to call the management and told the management whatever thing that is going on. So the driver gets a call from the management.
All right.
And by the way, when they got to Keri, past, I don't know if it's Keroka or what, the driver had to be changed.
Action was taken?
Action was taken.
Okay.
But this time round, it's coming in from a passenger.
Amazing. Amazing. Yes.
But as we were speaking, on the first times when he was reporting, I would hear the passengers complain. Why are you even making a phone call? They don't know it's their lives that is put at risk.
Okay.
But when they hear the management call and the driver is changed and the new driver takes the responsibility fully, now again they're asking for my number to come and appreciate.
Mr. Ward, even as we're speaking Apokwa number, it's very important to actually acknowledge and appreciate that there's always those numbers written. Behind trucks or behind cars, you see something written, well driven, call this number. For any complaints thereabout, call this number. The question I'm asking you from back at home as you're watching us or wherever you're watching us from, have you been in a situation where you were forced to call these numbers? Have you left a message? Has action ever been taken? All right, this is the challenge we're giving you today because Mr. Worotet is talking about passengers who were against the call, did not see how essential it was to actually use these numbers written. So what is your experience from back at home? Have you been that vocal passenger? Have you called once or twice, the management of these particular circles? What was their response? And what do you expect come 2022? You can also call out the circles. It's Arrive Alive. This is the morning drift. We can speak directly to them. So, Mr. Worotet, I think that's an amazing thing to hear, that action was taken.
Yeah, it's humbling.
Yes.
And all the 11 lives got to Kisii safe.
Okay.
We may never meet them. We may never know if they want to say thank you or something. But engineer did not give my number, and I'm happy he didn't. So I expect each and every stakeholder to take a front line. You know, this is battle.
All right.
If we don't fight, people are going to die. If we fight, many are going to die, but not as when we don't fight. So we really need to talk more about it.
Talk more.
We must talk more about it. We must talk. Even if we are going to repeat it every day, after every 30 minutes. Let it be known.
When you speak of talking, we've talked about the passengers. I remember, I think it's Caris also, great shout out and good morning, who mentioned that a matatu driver, was experiencing misses. And sometimes we have drivers who are just employed. Do they also speak? Is it time to be vocal and say, I will not drive this matatu until it is serviced? I don't know what you have to say about that.
I am having that conversation with the truck drivers in the groups. And they're saying, you must bring food to the table.
Okay.
Because if you speak, you will be easily replaced. My challenge to them has been, why do you think you can easily be replaced?
Yes.
It's because they have not invested in road safety. Why would somebody look for a Worotet for consultation and not just driving? And why would someone just decide, I want this guy to drive my truck? Nobody in his right mind will buy a 30 million truck and then give it to you. And when you refuse to drive, brings in someone else. Unless they have a good comprehensive cover so that when it goes all bad, they get a new one.
All right.
But who will replace your life? Which cover will bring you back from the dead? No one. So because we have not invested,
yes,
most of the people behind the wheels, they only have the driving license. Not even a defensive driving certificate. Not even a first aid certificate from Kenya Red Cross, which costs about 3,000 bob. No, you don't pay to get the certificate. You pay to go through the training. They give you a small exam and then award you the certificate.
Do they even know? Do Kenyan drivers even know that they need a bit of skill on first aid? So maybe this year we're expecting them to pick up these things we're talking about.
It's a talk that we are drumming up in conjunction with the Afande and OHAS, because the crashes we saw.
Yes.
For me and Afande, we were not on the crash. We were on how are the victims being handled. Okay. Nahia mentioned here.
Yes, absolutely.
You might want to help without knowing you're going to even kill them more. They are to die once, you're going to kill them 3 more times. So their chances of surviving from your rescue is like slitting their throats open, going for the arteries so that the blood pumps out into the air and they die. So first aid is something that the government really needs to work on. Be you a passenger.
Okay.
Be you a driver. If the driver needs first aid, it's the passenger to administer it. If the passenger needs first aid, it's the driver to administer it. So on first aid, there is nothing like specific groups.
All right. Equip yourself with these skills.
Everyone, everywhere.
Amazing.
And these are things that we must talk about. Right now, we are in a political season.
Oh, yes. And
people are bringing in a lot of manifestos. None is touching on road safety.
Mr. Worotet, just hold on there. On none is talking about road safety. We'll come back to that. Allow me to, of course, appreciate those who are asking questions on social media.
Please.
Edgar Wanyahururu, good morning, Edgar. I think today I want to allow you to say good morning, a special good morning and happy new year to Edgar Wanyahururu. He never misses the show.
For Edgar, there is a Bible verse I love. It's in Numbers 6:22 to 24. It says, the Lord bless you. May he look towards you, make his face shine upon you, because I've never missed to hear his name on the show.
He's always watching.
And very soon I hope to meet you in person.
And we also hope to also have him on set to just be part of this conversation. And if you are like Edgar, we'll have a slot where we actually interact with you live on session. Nasha Kagua is also watching. Orondo Senpai, good morning. Mr. Eugene Anangwe, thank you very much for the support and always making this a success. Afia Center crew is watching, and of course, thank you for the retweets. The following closes so that the word is out there. We can reach as many nations as we can. Kabiro Mtu Necessary. Ukisikia Mtu Necessary. Hey, Happy New Year. The necessity, we can feel it in studio. Arthur Guinness, I'm telling you, our people have amazing names. Guinness, Arthur, good morning. And Antonvo Stag is also following closely on Twitter. We're coming back again on Facebook for a few more questions. But you mentioned, remember as you talked to me on Twitter, pardon me, hashtag the morning drip, so I am able to easily access your tweets and share it with the rest of the world. Now, the politics, we cannot run away from the fact that politics has driven a lot of, road safety agendas, either to the negative or to the positive. But this 2022, as a Kenyan, as Anki Doris Umbat, I am choosing positivity. And you saying none of the aspirants is mentioning manifestos aligned to matters road safety. It does feel like a concern.
It is.
Yes.
A great one. Because they are going to use the road furiously, if there is an English like that. They're going to use the road extremely.
Yes, they will.
Between now and the days of the election, and even after the days of elections, for their agenda to achieve their campaigns.
Yes.
And I started by saying we are going to expect more.
Quite unfortunately.
Political seasons, we have seen fights on the road. We have seen when you go to campaign somewhere and it's like you're not getting along with the people, they tend to chase you away. And they tend to throw stones. They're all road users, but this time round, the agenda is political. No, we don't want you here, we want you here. There's just tussle. So you find a pedestrian throwing stone at a driver.
Oh, yes.
And when the driver is threatened, and that is the only way out, he will run over you, he will hit you, and he will run. So there is a lot that really needs to be done.
Okay. First,
responsibility has to be taken. As you are going through the tweets,
yes,
there is a traffic bump sign.
Oh yes, that had a poster on it
Of an aspiring member of parliament. Somebody who is aspiring to be a legislator in the country of Kenya. Allows his grounds team to put his poster on a bump traffic sign. Definitely with the mind that when a driver sees a traffic sign, they want to look at which one. Is it a bump? Is it a sharp bend? And then they see
a campaign.
The aspiring position of so and so.
Okay.
What kind of rules and laws will this aspiring member make when they make it into the House? They have no respect for road safety.
The signage.
Just the other day, I posted on my Facebook group a convoy of 3 V8s, Toyota V8 engines, with SSD number plates, just here on Ngong Road.
All right.
And they were pushing people off the road. What for? They are convoy, probably taking a VIP somewhere. I am trained in HIT, where we escort these guys in front line of battles and all that. Unless there is evident danger, you don't need to push somebody off the road.
Okay.
Regardless, even if it is the president's convoy, and the road is being cleared and your car has stalled, they won't push you. They'll just put security as the president goes by, the convoy goes by, and you are left there. But this time around, Someone is just driving his vehicle, going home, and then he's pushed off. For what reason? So these are things that we are going to see more of them.
Okay.
You know, these are positions people are going to aspire for. Road safety does not respect these positions. Today, if the presidential convoy is going to be driven and they will not slow down at a bump, we expect everything that happens to any other person. Road safety does not respect whichever class you are in. We need to change our country. Political issues and religion issues govern the way a country is run. If we are having people who are not going to talk about the concern,
all right,
this country, probably globally now, the youths are looking into the motorcycle. Omoyo has a lot of work to do, but she's only one. A lot of people look into that as a way of survival.
Income generating.
They have to bring income.
Yes.
And that is why you find a lot of youths, some are dropping out from school, some are highly learned, no jobs. The only nearest avenue is a motorcycle. Many of them are going to be used. They are going to be given jackets and probably be given fuel of 500 bob and told to ride the motorcycle in a way that causes commotion and attraction.
When you talk about that, I remember the conversation we had last week on the Boda Boda riders. And I wanted to hold there, just because there are a lot of questions also coming on social media. But you mentioned we're still in the electionary period, and the bad things that will happen and the positivity that we hope, is picked from this conversation. And earlier on, we asked you, we were appreciating what different authorities have done as stakeholders in road safety last year and things that have come to life this year. And you mentioned the SMS. And we challenged the viewer to tell us if they also received an SMS. And you said your favorite one as well. And of course, I can see here, Eugene Anangwe said, well received.
3.
He received, I think he's also the one he received in his favorite. We are waiting for you at home. So for that, is slow down, fika salama. And he said, I think he actually copy-pasted it. And of course, the stop, if you want to stop it, I'll just read the entire thing so that if you can relate with it, this is what is on your phone. If you want to stop, just dial *456*9*5#.
And I would beg, please don't stop it.
Don't stop it.
Please don't stop it. It's free, but the message is home.
All right, it's free, by the way, and the message is home. Don't say, oh, wanakata pesa yangu gapi hii kila siku. Mr. Ted says it is free. That is a message of love. And we're talking about the recommendations of how to make road safety better 2022. Mr. Kahara David, of course, before that, BMTWO, Dan says, we are watching from Sikika Road Safety.
Thank you, Dan.
Good conversation there. Of course, Ibrahim Hanif says cute. All right, we also find it very cute. This conversation is cute because it is a message of love.
Hanif handsome.
Yes, okay, that is handsome for us, so Ibrahim handsome. And of course, Kahara M. David gave a closing remark, but we're going to read his prior comments as well, saying, my closing comment is that the authorities must look at the future of road safety, the authorities, and we are currently firefighting, that is saying reactive crashes, without putting measures to minimize these accidents. As I continue with the comments, and of course I know we are coming back to the border operators in the political electioneering period, but you want to talk on what he has just said. We are still currently firefighting the crashes without putting measures to minimize the accidents. I don't know how much measures we should put in place. And when he says minimizing, what is he actually trying to put across?
You know, Kahara is blessed because a few years back we were fighting with him.
Okay.
We had personal fights, by the way, with him. And he kept on saying, me, I've driven for so long. And I thank God I never insult people or abuse. So we picked up with facts. And to a point he said, I'm not going to fight. I just want you to join you so that we do this together.
All right.
We are just putting out the fire. When crashes happen, we try to do cover-ups. You know, when you put out fire and you don't ensure the fire is cut out completely, it might rekindle and burn again. Fire will never burn where it has burnt. It will burn the next place which it has not touched.
All right.
The knee-jerk reactions that we see. The other day, 2NK, Matatu, 8 killed from Bungoma as they are coming to Nairobi. Then the next day, the SACCO decides all the fleet is being taken for inspection.
All right.
And we all know how inspection has been done with the history that we have. Vehicles that are unroadworthy have certificates.
They are unroadworthy, but they have certificates.
Of roadworthy.
Okay.
And the inspection officers, ask people, you know, the beautiful thing is that our audience are people who take vehicles for inspection. Somebody tells you, the inspecting officer has taken my documents and says, bring 1,000 bob. Just holding the documents. There is no inspection that is being done. So you give them, and they give you a stamp and the stick, and they tell you to go.
So somebody is not taking their job seriously?
It's not even about taking their job seriously. It's just the foundations that we have are wanting on road safety.
All right.
I am in a position to today say that I highly believe even the CS and the Minister of Transport in this country will not even be in a position to define what road safety is. I am in that position and I take accountability for saying that.
All right, because we are working on bringing them on set. Maybe we will play this video again to put that challenge out and understand from where they sit if they can then probably prove you wrong.
If mandated authorities, mandated, the government has mandated them to be the people who share out this message. They see it on news. It reaches their desk that a family, not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5, almost 10. We lost 15 members of one family, River Nzui. Maungu, 7 people, 5 from one family. Kisi, a stepmother and someone. And note that this even moved them to come out and say, Kenya, we are not heading the right way.
Have we had any remarks so far?
Negative. From the mandated authorities, not even NTSA.
All right. As we continue with that, putting the authorities on the spot, you said there are some countries that there is a national address if this happens. Because the number of families we have lost, that is alarming, that is disheartening. May their souls rest in eternal peace. Kenyans are asking, therefore, this morning, who is then mandated to speak out on behalf of the authorities when these things happen? What are they doing about it? Because like the River Nzui, if I remember properly or correctly, it is something that was brought up when people say this bridge has been like this for years. We've lost lives here for years. So in 2022, are we going to see this bridge at River Nzui actually worked on properly with proper engineering? These are questions we're putting out this morning, but even as we come back to you, sir.
Before you go.
Yes.
River Nzui.
Yes.
There is an update.
Okay.
They only placed a barrier.
So far.
That is being tied with a rope. So that when the water comes, we close the barrier, the water runs. Is that enough? That is my question to the viewers.
All right. Again, another question with River Nzui, which of course has claimed a lot of lives. We are getting an update because we're looking at recommendations and how to ensure that things that were said should be done, should be corrected, will be corrected in 2022. There is a barrier. Is that enough? Now, Caris Mugo is talking about the SMS, and of course, they don't arrive alive because that is one thing we're celebrating. Okay, and Caris says, I didn't receive the SMS. I think, okay, but okay, now I get the point. I did receive the SMS, but it didn't feel as impactful. I can imagine what they wanted to say, but they could do better. So besides everyone else who was excited, including yourself, Karis Mugo says they needed to do better. Karis, would you suggest how then they could do better when it comes to the NTSA and now what they're now doing? They're sending SMSs so that they can actually urge you that there is a message of love. We're waiting for you back at home. Before I come to you, sir, James Kinywa is watching and he's talking about the envoys that you said. He says the special VIP convoys are a menace. And he seems agitated by this. He says, Wanatuhara sana. The road is meant for all of us. No VIP is above road safety. Enjoying the show. You will want to comment on that as well when you talk about harassing them. And Mokaya K. Katai says, tuned in live from Nakuru City. It's actually a city. Yes, congratulations. And that is the 254 traffic locked in. Come back to more of your feedback. I want to allow you, sir. We're going to be ready for the big conversation shortly. But we were talking about, you know, the border cyclists and the electioning period earlier. We'll come back to that. Also, you want to touch on the harassing. You want to add more emphasis on what James Kinywa has just said, saying we're being harassed.
It's evident. It's out here.
Yes.
Before I even go to the convoys,
yes,
there are these big Prado, TX, LX,
big cars.
The big car syndrome.
Okay.
They think they are more human than us. Let me mention, and Karis Mugo, I know you are watching. These Prados you see here, in countries like Saudi Arabia, these are farm cars. They are farm cars. You meet them, they are 4x4, they are off-road vehicles. Those are the vehicles these guys use when they are going to visit their farms because of the rough terrain. They are like comfortable tractors. And that is why there is a specific model called the TX.
All right.
It's not meant for speed. Try negotiating a bend at 80. Do a sudden swerve. You always go off the road. They are off-road vehicles.
All right.
They are not meant for the speed and crazy stuff. Because you think the vehicle is high, those are farm cars in other countries.
All right. I'm believing this is to, of course, encourage humility within those cars.
You know, when you go for insurance, and insurance does not go for which type of car. Insure the vehicle,
all right,
let it work. Okay. So we have what we call the big vehicle syndrome, big car syndrome. And that is why now when you are given that type of car, you want to believe you can bully people with it. Because we see a lot of them being used by VIP, members of parliament, people who have money. That mindset alone is going to hurt this country. You know, we have just started the political season.
Yes.
And as days go by, we near the peak. Wait and see what will happen, especially on these vehicles we call big cars. Wait and see. Training is very vital.
All right.
You see this guy, Karis Mugo, this is a defensive driver, trainer. Just the other day he came from Jordan. And he will tell you, those are not vehicles to just jump into because you know how to drive.
All right.
You must understand the tire size of that vehicle, how it affects that vehicle. You must understand the center of gravity of that vehicle, how it affects that vehicle. You must understand the braking system of that vehicle before you jump into it.
So there's so many things to look at before you look at class and who is actually in the vehicle and the, you know, the kind of status that has been put to that vehicle. I know you want to close real quick, but I want to hear your last words. We've said the risk that could be there. But because as Kenyans, we are avoiding the crashes. Because as Kenyans, we are hoping for road safety. As a pedestrian, I want to walk when the convoy is going and I mind my own business. As a cyclist, I want to use the same road. Just give us 3 or, in 2 minutes, what you expect that all of them pick to ensure that during this exactly this specific 2022 electioneering period, things are done differently. What have they been doing and what should they then not do in 2022 through this electioneering period?
There are 3 answers I always get when I speak to victims. The first one is, I don't know.
Yes.
And for sure they don't know. Number 2 is, I didn't see. And then number 3 is, I didn't think. So everybody who is going to use the road, regardless of the class and the category, you must be the one to know. Is it safe for me to cross here? You must be the one to know whether it is safe for you to cross, whether it's safe for you to indicate, whether it is safe for you. You must be the one to know. When you know, you take responsibility. Number 2, you must see.
Okay.
As I cross the road here, is this a bend? I'm not going to cross the road at the bend. As I am going to overtake here, I must see, is it safe?
Okay.
If it's not safe, don't do it.
Okay.
Then you must think. Most of the time they say, actually, I didn't even think it was going to be this serious. I've never even thought of it. You must think, if I am hit here and the footbridge is visible, who takes the responsibility?
Absolutely.
We want a thinking nation. That is a bump.
Yes.
Is this the right speed for me? This is a school zone.
Yes.
What if a baby runs across the road? We must think and take full responsibility. Most people say, the police. Most will say, because I've been a police officer, I am talking in their favor. Do we know the law? One policeman takes care of 700 Kenyans. So the police officer is standing right where you are seated. Do we know where the 700 that he should be taking care of are? Maybe one is in a bus somewhere, one is in a train somewhere. So we cannot depend on the police force alone to work on road safety. NTSA will never be everywhere on our roads. Right now you are receiving SMSs. If we ask you, do you know where it came from? It came from NTSA.
That's all.
Somebody has received that message in Busia, another one in Mombasa, but it came from their communications broadcast, SMS bulk. We don't know whether it's in Nairobi or Kisumu or where.
Yes.
The message is, you have a personal responsibility. Take charge. It does not mean today, Anki, that when you sit as a passenger in the vehicle that Otet drives, now because Otet knows it, you cannot engage Otet and ask him, why did you do that? You are asking to confirm if I know. You are also asking to understand why I did that. You are asking to open a door to learn.
Okay.
So you find that most people, when they become passengers, they want to believe they don't even know how to drive.
Yeah.
Kakedi told you, Peter Kakedi, there is a reason why he's my designated rider. And he knows.
Yes.
And he knows. If he goes off it, there is no debate about it. It is about his life and his family first, not even the errand that I am doing for him.
Amazing. So I hope people are understanding that it is very important, therefore, in 2022, to understand that you are a stakeholder of road safety first, before the police, the government, the NTSA, the authorities, Mr. Otet, Anki Doris, Look Up TV, # The Morning Drift. You are the one who is to answer to what carnage or crash has happened at the time. So speak up. I want to close, sir.
Just before you close,
Yes.
on this conversation, we are only the two of us.
Yes.
How is it that a conversation of two people is reaching people in Botswana, Malawi, Ghana, whichever place? What of if we were 5? What of if we were 10? How about if we were 100?
Yes.
Then you realize that everybody must now come in. Thank you.
And I like when you say that, because from what I believe now, millions of people are part of this conversation. Maybe not physically, but they're really on social media. And that's why I want to appreciate Karis Mugo's last remarks, saying you can say that again about the big cars, in quotes. People have no clue that laws of physics have on different, what laws of physics have on different classes of vehicles. But sadly, we always think that vehicles will always be the same. People need to go back to driving basics and learn new driving skills. So this year, please grab those driving skills. Just get the basics again. Get another training. Things that have changed, like you said. James Kenywa, as we close, says also we should address the strobe lights on the 4x4s vehicles. Not all sirens we see are legit. Some are fake. So in 2022, we're hoping that this is actually looked into, so we don't have these fake, lights there as well. And of course, as I close, BMTWO says the authorities is failing Kenyans big time. So far, a lot of things have risen. Concerns have come. We cannot exhaust them. But one thing you always say as we close the show, and of course 2022 we've heard what is going to happen, but we'll have this conversation again before we get to August to again remind our politicians and Kenyans and border riders who we are saying may be used, quote unquote, during this period. We'll have this conversation again, sir. Just in 1 minute, welcome us to 2022, and of course close the show for us. The segment for us.
Today I want to give my final word by making a definition. What is road safety? Road safety are measures that are always put in place to help reduce possible deaths, possible injuries, damages that will be done to the environment and property.
All right.
If we put the right measures, we will not have people die. Remember I said Sweden are asking themselves, how come
you lose 2 lives?
2 people die in 1 year? Whereas in Kenya, we are headed to about 30,000 annually. It's time to think.
It's time to think. It's time to go back to the drawing board. It's time to re-strategize. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's such an honor to have you in our viewership this morning. Keep talking to us. Don't go too far away. We're just getting into the big conversation. And if you're a mother, if you're a wife, if you're a sister, if you're a husband, if you are a teacher, whichever position you hold and you are in touch with the feminine world, it is important that you join us for the big conversation, because this is a conversation people hardly have. But of importance, I would say that, is that you grab this skill, grab this knowledge, and run with it to the rest of the community. And as we close, it is a message of love, never ever miss. And someone wants you to say hi, Lucky Feather. Lucky Feather, very on a light note as we close, anasema alikuona jana pale Feather ukienda church. Anyway, how about this blue?
He saluted and I hooted.
Oh, you actually do?
Yeah.
Then that's very good. Then I think it's just good. He is saying we drive heavy loads.
Truck driver.
Because he's saying we drive heavy loads and machines, but mtu juu ako na hizo lights anataka akutoe hadi nje ya barabara. Still same thing that you're saying together with James. It's one voice. So again, we'll come back and talk about this light specifically on one episode. Thank you very much for being part of the show. This is a message of love, so we love you. And today we stood out to just appreciate NTSA Kenya. Edeleni kutuma SMS. People are receiving the love.
We really appreciate it.
All right, we'll be right back.